Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, today we're looking at the Divi Divider module. The Divider module is excellent for putting between modules or just using for extra space in places, and we'll take you through all of that. You can also animate them with hover effects. I've got a little line underneath this blur module here. When I hover over it, it's going to shrink. These sort of things are very eye-catching, going to get people's attention quickly. I've got another one in the middle. It's going to change. And I've got one over on the right-hand side here. It's going to expand when we put our mouse on it. Really easy to use and really useful little features to have on your website. So let's get started and explore these things. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. And let's go down. I'll go down to one of these blur modules here and we'll pop one in. I'm going to hit the little dark button to add a new module. If we roll down just a little bit, these are all in alphabetical order. There's the divider right there. Let's pop one in. As you can see, it's popped in a little line there. Let's make this line white so we can see it well over that background there. I'm going to go to the Design tab, to the line. I'm just changing the color here for the moment. Great. Well, that's pretty easy to see. If we go back to our content now, visibility, you can choose whether to show the divider or not. If you're not going to show it, you can just use it for spacing, and I'll cover that in a little bit. We'll put a bit of space between these two rows perhaps. I'm going to leave mine on show for the time being. Like any other Divi module, you can link it if you want to. You can have it go somewhere where people click on it. Just put the URL in there. Always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking off-site to somebody else's, open in a new tab. That way your site is going to stay open. You can give it a background color. If I give it a background color, let's just make it red. Shows you the actual depth of it. I'll leave that there for a moment so you can see it. Let's move on to our Design tab. And actually in the line itself, remember the line is the little white line at the top there. And you can position it top, vertically centered, right in the middle obviously, or bottom, depending on what your needs are. So I'm going to pop mine back in the middle, I believe, and we'll take that background away. I just wanted to show you the real estate that it's taking up there. So I'm going to go back to my content, background. I'm going to hit that little trash can. Fantastic. If we go back to our design now and look at our line, there's variations you can have. I'm just going to up the sizing a bit so it's a bit more visible. Just down below line, we've got sizing here. Default's 1 pixel. Let's take it up to perhaps 3 so you can see it really well. Great. You can also change the width here, so it's only covering X amount, 40%, 50%, etc. And then you can pop it in the middle, left and right when you need to. Let's pop that back up and we'll show you the different default styles that they've got. If we pop back up to our line at the top there, we've got the color, which we've done. Line style, the solid, which is basically a bottom border type thing. If you click on it, we've got dashed, dotted, doubled, 2 little lines there, grooved, and I'll make that a little bit bigger later on and you'll see what the grooved is. And we've got ridged, which is the opposite of grooved. It's got a shadow on the top rather than the bottom. Inset, bit of shadow in there. Outset, and no line whatsoever, which is the same as turning it off. But I'm going to leave mine on the actual solid for the minute. There it is. Now if you want to add more space, top and bottom to it, remember we put that red in, so we've got about 10 or 15 pixels top and bottom. We can go down to spacing below, just add more padding top and bottom. Let's give it 50 top. You'll see it drop down, and 50 bottom. Anything that's below it, it'll push that down as well. I'm going to take that away. We'll take that back to normal. But you can also get creative with it too. Like we've got a hover effect on that one above. So let's do that. It's really easy to do. Still in design. Let's go back up to our sizing at the top here. Here's the weight of it. I'm going to take that down just a little bit, perhaps to 2 pixels. And at the moment we've got it on 100%. Let's start it off on say 50%. Just put in the 50, it'll put in the percent for you. I'm going to have it in the middle, but when people hover over it, I'm going to have it shrink down to about 20%. And to create the hover effect, and this is common to all Divi modules, if you hover over the dark writing within a Divi module, you'll see some little icons appear. Go to the thing you want to edit, in our case the width here. If there's a little arrow there, which there is, click on it. And we can set a desktop state, we'll leave it at 50%. And then when they put their mouse on it, let's change that to maybe 25%. And I'll demonstrate this when we exit the builder. So when they've got their mouse on it, it's going to be that size. When they don't, it's going to be that size. And you could give it a glow by using a bit of box shadow if you wanted to. Just roll down a bit. We've got box shadow right here. If I pop that one on, you won't see a whole lot. But remember, it's going to actually give it the shadow around the whole of the area there. Let's change that to a color you can see, perhaps a white. It's giving it a glow around that whole box area there. Let's perhaps make it a little bit more interesting, perhaps with a pink or a green or something like that. Let's change that to a red perhaps. Now you can take the depth away if you want to by going into the sizing, which is just above the spacing we were in earlier on. If we roll down a bit, it's got a height there. And if you look at the actual height of it, we can go in there. I know that's just 2 pixels. Let's take it down to about 5 pixels and see what happens. You can still see that little glow around there. So that's one option if you want to do that. Let's leave that one right there. And we'll add another one next door. So again, I'm going to add a new module. Divider. I want it visible. I'm not going to link it. Let's go straight over to design. I'll move this so you can see what's going on. This time, well, let's have it white again. We'll have it perhaps dotted. If we roll down a little bit to the sizing, I think I'm going to pop that in the middle as well. If we roll down a bit to the sizing, you can take the size of those dots up to any size you want. So I start rolling up. The more you bring it up, better the size on those dots. And again, you can get some great hover effects. Let's perhaps take the width down again to 50%. I think that's what I've got above there. I'm going to pop it into the middle once more. And we'll perhaps have this grow when we hover on it. Again, to do that, we'll hover up over the thing. I'm going to use weight for this today. Get the little arrow up. And on the hover state, let's take that up to bigger, and it will reduce the number of dots when they hover over it. We'll take that up to about 50. And let's do one more next door. I'll just clone this one. Drag one of them across. Doesn't matter which one. They're both exactly the same. And we'll go into this one. And let's change this one over in design to the line from dotted. We'll use grooved. As you can see, it's got a sort of shadow bit on the top there. I'm going to make it a bit bigger in our sizing down below. Let's make it say 30 pixels. And we'll do a little hover effect on it. What we'll do with the width here, we're going to start off at 50%. Then this time when they hover over it, we'll make it 100%. And the time it takes to go from desktop to hover state with Divi, by default it's 300 milliseconds. If you want to speed it up or slow it down, you can do so up in the advanced here, down to transitions. There's the default 300. Let's make this half as speed, 600 milliseconds. And I'm going to use ease in, ease out. They're all slightly different. Some will work better than others in certain situations. I like that for my hover effect, so let's just save that. So before we save this and go to the front end, another obvious use for a divider is just to put space between modules. In fact, I've got one down on the bottom here. Let's get rid of that. What I'll do is I'll put a new row in between these 2 rows I've got here. A little green button to add a new row. We'll put in a single column, and we'll pop a divider in there. Now this time, there's the line right there. I'm going to say don't show divider, and I'm just going to use it for spacing. To create the gap that you want, go over to design, go to spacing, and you can use a bit of padding or margin, top and bottom. Let's say give it 50 pixels on the top, and on the bottom just hit the chain. As you can see, it's put some space between those, and that's the obvious use for this thing, but you can get pretty creative with it. So let's save our changes now. I'm actually going to delete that row and put it back how it was. We'll save our changes down the bottom, exit the visual builder, and let's go down to our little lines that we created down there, or our dividers I should say. There's the first one with a little glow. When I hover over it, it's going to shrink. That's a nice little effect. There's our little dots. When I hover over them, they're going to grow. I think I've taken them up a little bit too far, but you get the idea. With the one above, I think I took them up to about 40 pixels. But it's entirely up to you. The bigger you go up, the less dots you're going to have there. But I'm sure you get the idea. And there's our little line. When we hover over it, it should expand to 100% of the blurb width there. And there we have it. And we're taking a bit longer to do that. We've given it 600 milliseconds. One above is a regular. So there you go, guys. There's how to get created with a Divi Divider module. Great little module. You can have some fun with it, and you can create some nice visual effects for your site. Like I say, you don't have to have these animated, but even just as dividers, they're going to be pretty eye-catching. So there you go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.